Hi everyone, welcome! I know I've been doing a lot of color alongs lately, but I kind of wanted to go ahead and get some of my tutorials in as well. And I thought this would be a fun season to kind of jump in and do some like Halloween mini tutorials. So this page, I am going to do some green skin. So this is Frankenstein's Bride by Sarah Richter. This is out of their Halloween special. They don't date it, but I want to say this was last year's book because I didn't get to start it because I got it late. I did get this page done, which I find hilarious because the Grim Reaper is on a unicorn. But anyway, it was supposed to be a demonicorn, but I didn't like that. But anyway, to the task at hand. I thought, being Frankenstein's bride, she would be a great green skin lady. Now, I looked her up, and technically she is not green, but she's going to be for this tutorial. So, I pulled out of the Prismacolor collection. I was going to do this in Black Widows, but I feel like more people have Prismas, so we will see. I pulled Prussian Green, Sap Green Light, Pale Sage, and Gray Green Light. So these are pretty visible as to which will be your darkest shadows and which will be your highlight colors. And I will pull you in a little, and I don't know if I'll do the whole thing, maybe her face and her hand, just to give you an idea of the effect. Alright, so you can go in with your light and then put in your darks if that is your style. I like to do my darkest first. So I'm going to go Prussian Green, and this is a super dark color. So it's going to look like she's really, really green to start with. But the other colors will lighten it. So I am going to do this just like this was any other skin tone. I would, if these were my peach colors or my dark brown, either way, I'm going to pretend this green is the same thing. So just building in the shadows of her face a little bit. Okay, she does have some cheekbones right here. I am not going to bring those in just yet. For now, I'm just going to outline her face. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure her cheekbones are even, so I'm going to do them at the same time. I am going to do this little spot right here for her chin, and I am going to underline that lip. And I am going to do this dimple right here, nice and dark. Now, a lot of this, after the basics of, you know, the basic shadow areas like her neck, are going to be preference of, you know, what you like, what looks good to you. Because not everybody likes the same thing, and that's okay. But I like to come in. And notice I'm not going as dark, right? So I got a nice fuzzy blended out shadow, but right here I'm going soft. I don't want a dark line right here. I'm going to kind of do the same on this side. Now, I want to make sure they look even. So when I know her face is crooked, but and you can see I went in a little further on this side, so I'm just going to come in a little and even that out. I don't want her nose to look crooked. That will throw off the whole. Okay, I am going to darken under her eyebrows. And that is for two reasons. One, to define her eyebrows, and two, for whatever color we put in. If you are just learning highlights of faces, this is your T-zone. And the kind of trick to finding highlights is on a face is if you hold a flashlight under your chin, everywhere the light would hit, so your cheekbones and your forehead and the end of your nose, that's where your highlights would go. So we're going to stick with that same theory with the green here. And you will see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but she has very lightly shaded in already for us some definition to her neck here. So we are just going to lightly follow that shading. I'm not going to go dark because if I don't like it, then I can cover it. So I'm not going to do her whole body, but I am going to come up here and show you a little bit of the hand. So around these bandages is going to be a little darker. Under this ring is going to be a little darker. So the fun part about this hand, which I thought was very detailed and very nice, is she shades it for you. So as long as you follow the shading that is put in, your hand will have great detail. Now I know not everybody is doing their green skin on this page, but okay, so just kind of putting these cracks in her hand. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to come back and we're going to concentrate on her face a little bit. That will be the main goal here of this video, is her face. So we talked about these cheekbones a little bit, and I do want to put in some slight cheekbones. So we're going to shade a little darker by her eye. Just bring them in a little. So shading by her eye. And there's like very tiny shading there to follow, so that's what makes this kind of tricky. Just making sure the cheekbones come out even here. Okay, I feel like that looks pretty good. Okay, just kind of putting in a light layer over where I outlined so I can make sure everything's going to blend nicely. Just kind of starting to build in that circle shape for the cheek. Okay, we're going to bring in our next color now. This is the Sap Green Light. And we're going to back blend and come out a little ways. So I'm not going hard because I can come back and add layers. We're going to start defining the shape of everything a little bit here. Now there's lots of green combos you can go for this. Color with Claire has a great one with dark green and grass green. But I wanted her to be a little more Frankenstein colored than bright green witchy colored. So just make sure you pick the colors that fit your page. Okay, just filling in the shadow around her nose, under her eyebrow. Anywhere I put that dark green, I'm going to put this next to it. Okay, same with the hand, and I'm not going to do the whole hand, but I'll color in a couple fingers so when I get the highlights in you can see how it's going to look. So we'll just do that little bit for now. So, sorry about the noise. Quick. This shadow looks dark and big around her nose. I will blend it out some, but I want to make sure it stays. All right, so we're gonna call that good on that one. Now the highlights are really gonna depend on how big you want the highlight and how much of the green you want. So my next color is Pale Sage. And my next color is my lightest. So I'm gonna bring this one out clear until I have just my highlight spot left. That whole area is not going to be highlighted, right? Because we're going to highlight this chin here. So we're going to color in this whole area under the cheekbone, around the eye, bring out the lip, and you will see this is what starts to make that nice circle cheeky feel. Now I'm not going to go for a perfect circle, I'm just going to go for a basic shape. I might still give her some red cheeks. Pink cheeks. So I want them kind of the same size and even, more even than anything. Okay, I'm not going to blend these yet till I'm sure I like everything. But her hand, I will show you because we're doing a couple fingers. Her fingers will be the same thing. Leave that tiny bit. It doesn't look like a whole lot when you leave just a tiny white streak. But once you get all your colors together, then it really pops. So that will be my finished finger look. Okay. So again, I'm going to come over here and put my highlights before I darken anything else. Making sure there's no streaks on her face. That's why layers are important. Okay, we're working around that green lip. Okay. Forehead. This is tricky to do without turning my paper. Sorry if this looks weird. Not pressing hard, just holding my pencil weird so everyone can see. Circular motions. Okay, I am going to go ahead and use this for her eyeshadow. I'm not going to give her a whole lot of makeup. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do her cheeks with this for now. And I can add a little more color. Now you'll notice I left her nose blank. And that's because I like, now this is personal preference again. Oh, let me fix the shadow right here. It's a little wild. I don't know if I love that. I might fix that spot a little bit, but we're gonna roll with it for now. So when I'm doing her nose, I brought in this color already. I'm gonna do the very tip of it. I'm gonna do the dark green right around the edge and for the nostrils. I don't want to do black because that is gonna look really harsh, especially with this really light green part of her face. So I don't want to do black. I want to keep the colors I have. Okay, her highlight was going to go right down the middle of her nose. So I'm going to come in with Pale Sage. And I'm just going to kind of do the edges. I'll leave that nice circle dot on the end. And then I'm going to come in with the gray green light. Make sure she doesn't have a unibrow or anything going on. Okay, this is the part where we're going to work on our cheekbones a little bit. So I'm matching from corner of eye to lip. So corner of eye to lip. That isn't how I do everyone, that's just how hers happen to line up. Okay, so we're going to blend them out a little so they're not too harsh. But we want to keep that general shape. This curve right here is a little harsh. It's kind of hard to do with her head tilted here and not turning the book. Okay, so I'm going to pull this one away from her mouth a little. That one came down a little far. So I am blending out my mistakes, not erasing them. I don't want to erase all the layers I've put down with an eraser and then have to try to build them back up evenly. So I'm just blending out what I don't like. Okay, now this is going to sound a little weird, but I'm going to come back in again with the dark green, and this is just personal. I do this a lot with regular skin tones as well, but I just want to make sure I haven't lost a whole lot of the dark definition of her face. Now if you want to darken these cheekbones, which I do just a little, lightly, and just repeat in that shape. Okay, making sure now that I got all the lights in on her face that that chin and neck area is dark. Just redefining a couple areas. And that will be the basics of green skin for Halloween. So you can do this on a witch or a zombie, mermaid. If you've got a mermaid going on for Halloween, doesn't even have to be Halloween, but Halloween intrigued me to get creative with the skin tones here. Okay, so we're just blending out that dark green I just put in, bringing out a little more of this color to her face. And as you can see, I will have to blend out again with the other colors as well, but usually I go slow, but I always get on camera and feel like I have to go super fast, so. Okay. And you can trade these colors out for pinks, yellows, oranges, blues, whatever you want, and you will get the same skin effect. So if you stuck with me this long, I appreciate you. Questions, comments, or requests, leave them down below, and I hope to see you for the next one. Happy October!